Good evening. It's 7 o'clock here in New York City, and this is the Tibet Center, Kunchap Tarduling, a Buddhist meditation and study center located in New York City and northern New Jersey. Tonight we are in New York City on 30th Street between 6th and 7th Avenue, a tomato's throw from Penn Station. This is our twice weekly Dharma presentation. So all the prayers that we say will be on the Tibet Center website in the FAQ section. Scroll down to prayers. If there's anyone who has passed away, and we'll have something to say about that in a few minutes, that you wish us to pray for when we do Sutra of the Three Jewels, put the name in the chat box now. All the prayers we say, again, are on the website. And the program will be a little different. So after we say the main prayers, then I'll tell you how we have to say Shantideva's 10th chapter. One of our longtime students has passed away, as we did last Wednesday night for Nikki's father. We'll do this for Wyatt Harlan, who's passed away. Wyatt. Do you remember Wyatt? Yeah, she hasn't been around in a while, but yeah. So prayer for the spreading of the teachings. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once. The Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the samadhi to examine the dharmas called profound illumination, and at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputran of Avalokiteshvara, how should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge? And Avalokiteshvara answered, Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Form is empty. Emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form. Form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge. And since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awakened to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva, mahasattva, should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the bodhisattva, mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, humans, Asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Generating bodhicitta, its refuge and bodhisattva vow. We say these verses 3 times. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings, as long as it endures, as long as sentient beings remain. Until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So normally we recite one mantra, or rosary round of Om Mani Padme Hum, but since one of our students, many years, has passed away, we do what we always do, as we did for Nikki's father. We recite the 10th chapter of Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And this is something, just listen to it. This is the attitude you should have entering Buddhist practice. This is Shantideva sort of doing a solo after writing all this book. This whole book, each chapter building up to this point. This is what a Bodhisattva mind thinks. So if you could blend your mind with these words, you're ahead of everyone. Not only that, be able to help people more. So we'll talk later. This take a few minutes. Just relax and let it roll. Through the virtue of having composed this work, a guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, may all living beings come to engage in the Bodhisattva's conduct. May all beings everywhere plagued with sufferings of body and mind obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. For as long as they remain in cyclic existence, may their mundane happiness never decline, and may all of them uninterruptedly receive waves of joy from bodhisattvas. May all embodied creatures who throughout the universe experience hellish realms come to enjoy the bliss of Sukhavati. May those feeble with cold find warmth. May those oppressed with heat be cooled by the boundless waters that pour forth from the great clouds of the bodhisattva's merits. May the forest of razor-sharp leaves become a beautiful pleasure grove, and may the trees of knives and swords grow into wish-fulfilling trees. May the regions of hell become places of joy, with vast and fragrant lotus pools, beautiful with the exquisite calls of wild ducks, geese, and swans. May the heaps of burning coals change into heaps of jewels. May the burning ground become a polished crystal floor, and may the mountains of crushing hells become celestial palaces of worship filled with sugatas. May the rains of lava, blazing stones, and weapons from now on become a rain of flowers. And may all battling with weapons from now on be a playful exchange of flowers. By the force of my virtues, may those caught in the fiery torrents of acid, their flesh eaten away, revealing their lily-white bones, obtain the bodies of celestials, and dwell with gods and goddesses in gently flowing rivers. Why the henchmen of Yama, Yama is the lord of death, the unbearable buzzards and vultures afraid, through whose noble strength is joy brought upon us and darkness dispelled? Looking up, they behold in the firmament the radiant form of Vajrapani. Through the force of their joy, may they be free from wrongdoing and find his company. When they see the lava fires of hell extinguished by a rain of falling flowers mixed with scented water, immediately satisfied, they wonder whose work this was. In this way, may those in hell behold Padmapani. Friends, don't be afraid, but quickly gather here. What need is there to flee when above us is the youthful Manjughosha to dispel our fears, the tender Bodhisattva who protects all living things, through whose might all suffering is removed and the force of joy abounds. Behold him in an enchanting palace resounding with the hymns sung by 1,000 goddesses, with the tiaras of 100 gods being offered to his lotus feet, and a rain of many flowers falling on his head, the eyes of which are moist with kindness. Upon seeing Manjughosha in this way, may those in hell cry out loud with joy. Likewise, having seen, due to the roots of my wholesome deeds, the cool and sweet-smelling rain falling from the joyful clouds created by the Bodhisattvas Samantabhadra and Sarvanirvana Viskambini, may all beings in hell be truly happy. May all animals be free from the fear of being eaten by one another. May the hungry goats be as happy as the people of the northern continent. May they be satisfied by a stream of milk pouring from the hand of the noble Lord Avalokiteshvara, and by bathing in it, may they always be cooled. May the blind see forms. May the deaf hear sounds. And just as it was with Maya Devi, may pregnant women give birth without any pain. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth. May those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find new hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their illness, and may every disease in the world never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting one another. May all travelers find happiness everywhere they go, and without any effort, may they accomplish whatever they set out to do. May those who sail in ships and boats obtain whatever they wish for, and having safely returned to the shore, may they joyfully reunite with their relatives. May troubled wanderers who have lost their way meet with fellow travelers, and without any fear of thieves and tigers, may their going be easy without any fatigue. May those who find themselves in trackless, fearful wildernesses, the children, the aged, the unprotected, those stupefied and the insane, be guarded by beneficent celestials. May beings be free from all states of no leisure, and be endowed with faith, wisdom, and kindness, with food obtained in a proper manner and excellent conduct. May they be mindful throughout their lives. May all beings be without want for wealth, just like the treasury of space, and without it being the source of dispute or harm, may they always enjoy it as they wish. May those who have little splendor come to be endowed with majesty. May those whose bodies are worn with toil find magnificent and noble forms. May all lower life forms in the universe take rebirth in higher forms. May the lowly obtain grandeur, and may the proud be humbled. By the merits I've accumulated, may every single being abandon all forms of wrongdoing and perpetually engage in virtue. May they never be parted from the awakening mind. May they always engage in the Bodhisattva's conduct. May they be cared for by the Buddhas and relinquish the actions of devils. May sentient beings have lives inconceivably long when in fortunate realms. May they always live in contentment, unfamiliar with even the word death. May there abound in all directions gardens of wish-fulfilling trees filled with the sweet sound of Dharma proclaimed by the Buddhas and their children. May the land everywhere be pure, smooth and devoid of any rocks, level like the palm of the hand, and of the nature of lapis lazuli. For all the circles of disciples, may many bodhisattvas dwell in every land, adorning them with their excellent manifestations. May all embodied creatures uninterruptedly hear the sound of Dharma issuing from birds and trees, beams of light, and even space itself. May they always meet with Buddhas and their children, the bodhisattvas, and may these spiritual masters of the world be worshipped with endless clouds of offerings. May celestials bring timely rains so that harvest may be bountiful. May kings act in accordance with Dharma, and may the people of the world always prosper. May all medicines be effective, and the repeating of mantras successful. May dakinis, cannibals, and the like be endowed with compassionate minds. May no living creature ever suffer, commit wrong, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled, or their minds ever be depressed. In all temples and monasteries, may reading and recitation flourish and remain. May the Sangha always be in harmony, and may their purposes be accomplished. May monks desiring to practice find quiet and solitary places, and through having abandoned all wandering thoughts, may they meditate with flexible minds. May nuns be materially sufficient, abandon quarreling with each other and be unharmed. Similarly, may all ordained ones never let their morality weaken. Having repented any moral faults, may transgression always be eradicated, and thereby obtaining a happy state of birth, may spiritual conduct not decline even there. May the wise be honored, and may they receive alms. May their minds be completely pure, and may they be renowned in all directions. May beings not experience the misery of lower realms, and may they never know any hardships. With a physical form superior to the gods, may they swiftly attain Buddhahood. May sentient beings again and again make offerings to all the Buddhas, and may they constantly be joyful with the inconceivable bliss of the Buddhas. Just as they intended, may the Bodhisattvas fulfill the welfare of the world, and may all sentient beings receive whatever the Buddhas have intended for them. Similarly, may the Pratyeka Buddhas and the Shravakas find happiness. And until I reach the level of the Joyous One through the kindness of Manjughosha, may I be mindful throughout my lives and always obtain ordination. May I live and be sustained by simple, common foods, and in all my lives may I find the ideal solitude for practicing Dharma. Whenever I wish to see something, or even wish to ask the slightest question, may I behold without any hindrance the Lord Manjughosha himself. In order to fulfill the needs of beings who reach unto the ends of space, may my way of life be just like that of Manjughosha. For as long as space endures, for as long as living beings remain, until then may I too abide to dispel the miseries of the world. May all the pains of living creatures ripen solely upon myself, and through the might of the Bodhisattva Sangha, may all beings experience happiness. May the teachings, which are the sole medicine for suffering and the origin of every joy, be materially supported and honored and abide for a very long time. I prostrate to Manjughosha, through whose kindness wholesome minds ensue, and I prostrate to my spiritual masters, through whose kindness I develop. So I'll see you in the future, Wyatt. You've been a student of Chungla. We all meet together. So we should rejoice in a life that found the Dharma. So we have a whole bunch of stuff tonight. First of all, we have a little simple tutorial. Is that a word to use? I thought I kept the page right with the $5 bill, but we talk about in all these, we've been discussing the process of death and how the elements dissolve, and what are the elements exactly. So we're going to exactly explain what the elements are. This is according to Drango Rinpoche's book, the 5 elements: earth, water, wind, those things. So this is from the book we've been working with, The Journey of the Mind, Preparing for the Bhagavad Life, Dreams, Meditation, Dying, and Rebirth. We had some of this. Same as the topic, His Holiness' Dying book. How the elements dissolve as we die, what they do. So they mention the elements here, the elements. All right, what are the elements? So let's listen, we'll find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 5 elements. The elements in Tibetan Buddhism are not the same as physical elements that you learn in chemistry. This is. In Buddhism, these elements can be thought of as forces. Because in Buddhism, solidity isn't such a thing. Everything is in motion right now. All the atoms in the chair are spinning. So they say these are forces. having characteristics that give matter a fundamental energy. Different words here. It tells you about their whole worldview. This may seem rather esoteric, but understanding the dissolution of the body, that they are very specific and meaningful. So this helps you. Knowing this, you could understand why you have certain feelings and see certain things. That's all. The earth element. Start with the earth. The element of earth has the characteristics of solidity. It's solid, it's not, weight, immobility, and hardness. So it's solidity, weight, immobility, and hardness. The earth element gives both living beings and inanimate objects their shape and form. You have elements in your medicine studies, right, Leon? Certain elements are predominant, they shouldn't be overdone, they should be all in balance in the body. Yes? You think so? No. Okay. The youngest quiet tonight. So anyway, that's the idea. Like all the elements, Earth is subject to impermanence, but it changes so slowly that it may appear to be permanent. The building's always there. Those rocks are always there. Well, stick around a long time, they're not always there. That's something to think of. Within the human body, the earth element gives us structure and strength to our flesh and bones. The earth element of our food sustains our bodies. The earth element makes a person steady and reliable. Here's the mental characteristics of the earth element. Steady and reliable, which is important for our families, our society, and our organizations. Every plan or activity needs the kind of basic structure and foundation which the earth element provides. If lacking, it will fall apart. An excess amount of earth quality in our body may make us feel dull, heavy, and are unable to arouse ourselves. So the idea with all these things, they have to be balanced. Can't be too much of one or the other. That's the idea. And they're not only physical things, they're forces. Their energy runs with certain characteristics. So, which is a big thing. The water elements, you can imagine now. The element of water embodies cohesion. Water puts things together. Psychologically, these things are important. They're more sophisticated when you think, oh, it's an old system. They thought of Earth. No, it's very psychologically sophisticated. The amount of moisture in things, such as food, determines whether they can be mixed together. Again, water cohesion. You want to mix things, you moisten them, and then they mix. Making a cake. You put in the milk or whatever. Okay. Water flows in a continuous, unbroken stream and pervades our body and all our bodily fluids, lymph, pus, phlegm, sweat, blood, everything, the symbol of life itself. Mind also has the water quality. Because it is a stream of experiences continually changing, like the river flowing. You notice your thoughts, they're always flowing. In Buddhist texts, the water element of mind is often compared to a river because of its endless flow of thoughts, feelings, not only thoughts, feelings, emotions, and desires. I want this, now I want that. Oh, I got to have that. Yeah, keep that up. You have to pull back from all of these. These things you should have power over. Separate awareness from thoughts. You can be aware of thoughts. So there's your strength. And that's it. Otherwise you get carried away with it. And they know how to do this in advertising. They know how to show you things that get you carried away. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You got some applause. The cohesive quality of water provides a connection of friendship and affection that holds people together in relationships. So they mean a lot when they say water. They don't just mean a glass of water over here. So you get the idea. So work with these ideas, and then when you read these in the text, it will become more clear, like focusing the camera. The fire element. The element of fire, whose nature is to burn, gives us heat and light. The outer manifestations of the fire element are as essential to us as the sun. In animals and humans, the fire element provides body heat. Fire stands in between the dense nature of earth and the insubstantiality of air. Dense earth, insubstantial air. Two opposites, right? As it begins with solid fuel and eventually disappears into hot air. You burn things. Come on in. We're talking about the 5 elements, and we just finished the fire element. In Chinese medicine, the 5 elements, something like Tibetan medicine, have to be balanced. You think so? Yeah. Oh, good. The doctor is here. Where's your Blue Cross card or whatever? Okay, so we got the idea. Fire, it's in between earth and earth and air, because it's solid, then all of a sudden it burns, makes smoke, it's in air, and that's it. Emotionally, what about the mind element? Fire manifests as both intense love and intense anger. Ooh. Sexual desire burns, but friendship and affection are like warm, glowing domestic fires. Nice fire. There's different degrees of fire. Even in the case of hatred, which has a fire element, though it is hot and blazing, hatred has an element of cold, icy rejection. Oh, yeah, but you hate someone, you also don't want them around. The three disturbing emotions of attachment, aggression, and ignorance are all symbolized by raging fires. They're out of control. You attach, you forget everything else, you gotta have it. You hate, forget everything. You know.
Actually, in Chinese, when we say anger, we say kind of like fire ejected.
Fire,
in Chinese.
yeah, burning, and ejected, like force,
Yeah. Fireball, right?
like a flamethrower,
Yeah.
like a torch.
Right.
Makes sense. That's what you feel like if you stop. But when you're angry, you're not analyzing yourself. You're just going crazy. That's what's wrong. I notice this on the subways. People sometimes get angry. The air element. Ladies and gentlemen, clap for the air element. The air element, the 4th element is called either air or wind. Long in Tibetan. What's Chinese? Qi? Qi. Yeah, so something like. Wind is inhaled and exhaled, moving air, and air is the breath of life for living things. There is a connection between breath and emotion. That is why we are asked to take a deep breath before acting impulsively. Remember, she would always, no, calm down. No, just take breath. No, always. Especially with me, we're always yelling. So, breathe slowly and deeply when feeling frightened or aggressive. If we're frightened, hold on. Take a breath. Aggressive, stop it. Don't throw a brick. Take a breath. Move the air element to a different speed. Don't let the fire pervade. The Sanskrit word for breath, prana, also means life force. When we breathe in oxygen for our lungs, we also take in a life force which nourishes our subtle body. Because the Tibetan word lung is used for both wind, as in wind blowing in the trees, and for the movement of subtle energy in the body, we often use the term subtle winds to indicate the internal energies of the body. So when they say wind, they don't mean the wind in the trees. When they talk, the light and moving, it's called. What is wind? It's light in weight and it moves in the body. That's the definition translated into English. I'm sure it's better in Tibetan and more sharp. But the Chinese system is the same. The more you know that, the more you can understand this. So, and the final one, the space element, sometimes called ether. So down ether has a chemical. Space is the 5th element. The Sanskrit word for space, akasha, the Sanskrit word for space, akasha, and this is used for sky also. So this element is also translated as sky or space, but it means space. And what is space? The element of space is the dimension in which everything exists. The table exists in space. We all do. We're running around in space, except on the train. There's no more space. But that's it is said that it is said to be all-pervading and boundless. Yeah, there's no lines in space. It's boundless. Good thing to remember when you realize the nature of the mind: space-like emptiness, space-like awareness. No boundaries. And the more you develop that subtle mind like Buddha, you see everything, everywhere. Amazing. The Tibetan Buddhist concept of space is akin to the Greek idea of ether, the invisible element that contains or holds all the other elements of the world. The concept of ether was part of thought and physics in the West until it was discredited by scientists in 1890s in an experiment showing that light goes through space that does not contain ether. Thus, this concept of space has not been much used in modern times, but they're talking about something different. They're taking the solid world as, that's it. Here, we're talking, it's a little subtle. The element of space dwells within us as what? Consciousness. The element of space dwells within us as consciousness. Like space, mind is infinite and boundless. The mind is infinite and boundless. Yeah, it doesn't die, it doesn't go away. But it's boundless. Without shape or size or color. Give me a pound of mind. No. Give me a box of mind. You can't. Does it have electrical charge? No. Molecular weight? No. None of the things that go on with it. Without shape, size, it does not dwell anywhere. Space contains all the other elements, yet it is beyond all characteristics. As pure, shining intelligence, they're calling that, complete openness, and all-seeing awareness. All of these can be thought of metaphorically as space to help your mind learn what we're talking about here. So this is very helpful, this Lama. He's a Kagyu Lama, but also spent many years becoming a yellow hat Geshe also. He's Geshe, La Rampa, Trangul Rinpoche, and also Trangul. So His Holiness recommended him as a teacher of the Karmapa. The new Karmapas, and that's the best teacher. Holiness bestowed the La Rampa degree on him. So he's very well read and a real yogi, a real practitioner. So when his books are around, there's a lot of them out, look into them. They're not bad, they're pretty good. So that's Kagyu. No, it's not. It's Buddhism. Because he's both. How are you going to... So that's that. It's a lot to think about.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Mindfulness and awareness, what's the difference?
Mindfulness of awareness, you're aware of what's going on in the mind. The awareness fact is what lets you know what's going on in the mind. Most of the times the mind is right, no, tomorrow I'm going to do that. No, I can't stand that. Oh, there she is, she looks great. Blah, 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 blah. What is taking all that in? Awareness. Is that separate from the mind? No. Awareness is pure. It doesn't get involved with those thoughts, which aren't that pure. You like, you don't like, you could care less, all those things. So awareness is the key to everything. We're always aware. And that comes from the clear light, which is always operating, but we're not aware of it. So that's what meditation does. You start to become aware, and finally, these thoughts get less and less, more space. You might become afraid. You know, these thoughts that were so solid, they don't seem to, they're not inherently existent. That's the way things really are, but we're not seeing it, so we're frightened because our usual projection of what we think is going on is proven wrong, so we freak out, maybe. But if we have a good background, a good compassionate mind, good morals, don't be afraid, we'll be joyful in discovering these things. But awareness lets you see what's going on in your mind. It's like waves in the ocean, remember that? Are they separate from water? No. But we say that's a wave, that's the whole ocean. We designate. So that's these terrible thoughts that we have, but they're still part of the mind, the clear light mind, and they're in one way pure. Otherwise, we're always in trouble. We can never get out. Funny.
And
No.
then the mindfulness.
Mindfulness is always being aware what's going on in the mind and what you're about to do, your motivation. It could be very simple. Now I sit. Now I'm going to climb the stairs. Now, or your plan long term. Today I'm going to try not to get angry. I'm going to try to be compassionate to beings as best as I can. You do that everyone. Awaken yourself that way. And then at night, your awareness is going to tell you how you did. It's like reading the report. You know, I had a fight with so-and-so. You know, I couldn't stop eating those bananas. Shame on me. Or I gave money to someone who's poor, very good, thank you very much. Things like that. Awareness lets you see like you took away from yourself and you're watching. Awareness is very strong. Remember the Zen teacher that said, the new mother gets crazy watching the kids. Go over here, go over there, go there. But the older mother, the grandmother, gives the kid a lot of space. And they see them jumping. And that's what they do. Once in a while looks very calm. She has good awareness. She has experience. And the idea is you give your mind a lot of space. These thoughts are going to come up. Don't knock yourself out. Oh, I thought a bad thought. If you're across the street having tea in the restaurant or bubble tea or Starbucks and you see somebody robbing the bank, that's not your fault. You're not involved. If you get out and help them, no, that's wrong. But seeing these thoughts doesn't make you guilty. You have to confess, oh, I had this bad thought. That happens. That's the past coming up, whatever. If you don't engage with it, you don't say, oh, that's good. I'm glad he's stealing. Good for him. No, that's wrong. But just saying, oh, I'm robbing the bank, stupid. Well, and you keep continuing. That's the idea. So with your thoughts, don't give yourself the identity of the thought because they're changing every 2 minutes. You're going to go crazy. One time you're a nice person, 2 seconds later you're terrible. That's bump, 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 the dance of garbage. It seems to be. That's what I see and that's what they say. But you have to find this out by yourself. And then you have all the power. Lama Yeshe used to say, don't worry about these. So you have power over them. Don't let them take over your mind. What happens when that happens? You're depressed. And it goes on and on. It gets more and more strong. And that becomes your whole life. I know. We all went to those problems, Awareness. What's the word for I don't even know the word for awareness in Tibetan. I'll have to find out. So awareness is part of like the different yogas that they teach, What else do we have some questions and answers from His Holiness for some relaxing entertainment. One or two things he says are very interesting. And I put a clip on it, and here it is. Questions to the Dalai Lama. One, these are like younger students asking him questions. Is there any possibility of a global religion for all the people of the world? And His Holiness says, no, it's not possible. In other words, one religion for everybody. And this is the head of a religion. So it's not possible. I think global religion could mean warm human hearts, affection, a sense of caring, and altruistic minds. This could be a global religion. That would be nice. On the other hand, I see the different traditions remaining. They are useful for such a wide variety of humanity, just as one religion. I do not think there is much benefit in that. He thinks people have different tendencies. Let them have their religion, because on the bottom they're all teaching compassion, not selfish, against selfishness, things like that. Now here's a little heavy of a question. Is the theory of karma valid? Is all that happens predetermined? It's his karma, he can't help it. And His Holiness says, well, what do you think? It's predetermined or not? Send your cards and letters. Karma does not have the connotation of predetermined. You shouldn't think that. That's his karma, he can't escape it. That's it. Well, then you can't do anything good. Stuck. By depending on different levels of actions, one can change the course of one's experience in life. I'm giving an example from our daily life. In the morning, you plan something. You want to take a certain action, maybe carry out plans that were fixed last week. Yes, I'm going to the Tibet Center Monday night. But then some emergencies occurs. It starts snowing. The trains don't work. And everything changes. Although the result of certain actions are programmed, if some more forceful action comes, the results will change. Once the result is borne out, it can't change. But once it's on its way, then it gets interrupted. So, why are so many young people getting heart problems? I guess they are. I don't know. It seems to be.
Because they don't sleep.
He said, well, I think you're right. He said, I think because of tension. Yay! Also, less inner strength and too many expectations from outside. Outside's not reliable. And also too much ambition. Over-ambitious. Perhaps behavior problems, drugs, and alcohol. And then he said, better to ask a doctor. Don't bother. He makes believe he doesn't know. No, I love that. Your Holiness, someone said, people feel very possessive about you. How do you handle this? He said, you can become progressive, but that does not make much of a difference to me. I'm just sitting here. But Your Holiness, it creates problems for others, the people being possessive. If it creates problems, they should stop being possessive. There was a similar question once in Germany. There I said that I consider myself made up of the elements of earth, wind, water, and fire. In whatever way others can benefit from me, may they enjoy. It's totally selfless. Take everything, my elements. Like Shantideva's book, might I be a bridge for someone who needs to cross? May I be food for the hungry? So he lives that. Very nice. So that's nice. Isn't that nice? We're getting like a little mixed salad here. A hot pot. That's what we have. Much time we have. All right. And the power of compassion, we're going through this once in a while. This is like secular ethics. Any religion can learn from this, It's talking about being courageous and the benefits of compassion. We had a little of this before, but it's page 75 of this nice little book that fits in your pocket, The Power of Compassion. There are various positive effects of enhancing one's feeling of compassion. What's in it for me if I feel wanting to take away others' suffering? That's the idea of compassion, wanting to remove suffering. Not empathy, oh, how bad. Yeah, that's good, but better. I have to do something about this. So one of them is the greater force of your compassion, the greater your resilience to confronting hardship and your ability to transform into more positive conditions. One form of practice that seems to be quite effective is found in A Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, a classic Buddhist text. Here, you visualize your old self, the embodiment of self-centeredness. That's the chapter where he's calling I the other people, and they himself. He's switching sides with people. When you remember that chapter, it's a little complicated. But selfishness and so on, you think of that, and then visualize a group of people who represent masses of other sentient beings. Then you adopt the third person's point of view as a neutral, unbiased observer and make a comparative assessment of the value, the interest, and then the importance of these two groups. So I want this, I want that, and you say, wait a minute, I'm being selfish. These other people need things more than me. So you need a referee in the middle saying, look at what you're thinking. Look what, and you're only one. There are billions. What's more important here? When you can make a choice. So that's it's a numbers game. Try to reflect on the faults of being totally oblivious to the well-being of other sentient beings and so on, and what this old self has really achieved as a result of leading life in such a way. What did you get for all your selfishness? You get nirvana? You're enlightened, you're immortal, you're always blissful? That didn't come from your selfishness. In fact, you're miserable, as a matter of fact. I hate to tell you. So, reflect on other sentient beings to see how important their well-being is. We need to serve them and so forth, and see that you, as a third neutral observer, would conclude that as to whose interests, well-being are more important. You're like the judge. Selfishness is guilty. You would naturally begin to feel more inclined towards the countless others. If you start thinking of them, that comes naturally that you, oh my God, what's going on? Those poor things. We don't even think of them. These people who make war and they start throwing weapons around, fierce weapons, they're not even thinking of bombing the hospitals, what happens to people there, bombing the schools. They don't think. They sat down and thought, and maybe the news would show children crying, fighting, where's my mom? Maybe the good in them would come up to the surface finally. I don't know. But that's what he's saying. I also think that the greater the force of your altruistic attitude towards sentient beings, the more courageous you become. This is helping you. The greater your courage, the less you feel prone to discouragement and loss of hope. Therefore, compassion is also a source of inner strength. It's not like I'm putting all my good things on. It's good for you. It gives you strength. It lets you realize who you are deep down. We have Buddha nature. Don't tell me. No, with increased inner strength, it is possible to develop firm determination, and with determination, there's a greater chance of success, no matter what obstacles there may be. On the other hand, if you feel hesitation, fear, and a lack of self-confidence, and often you will develop a pessimistic attitude. Well, I can't do that. It's too hard. You start whining to yourself. Shut up. I consider this to be the real seed of failure. With a pessimistic attitude, you cannot accomplish even something you could easily achieve. You put a block on yourself. You put a weight on yourself. Otherwise, you can go about things. Nothing, you do house chores and everything. Oh, I don't feel like doing it now. You just did it, it would flow, and you'd feel a little better, a little exercise. Have an espresso would help. No. So, even if something is difficult, if you have an unbreakable determination, there is eventually a possibility of achievement. Therefore, even in the conventional sense, compassion is very important for a successful future. As I pointed out earlier, depending on the level of your wisdom, there are different levels of compassion, such as compassion which is motivated by a genuine insight into the nature of reality, the highest up. When they say the 3 levels of compassion, it depends on the being that's being compassionate. A high being already saw emptiness, so he sees all the events in that way. These people don't realize they're suffering for no reason at all. Don't they know everything is empty of inherent existence? Don't they know that they're Buddha nature? That's a higher practitioner. The medium ones is, they're motivated by the idea that everybody's impermanent. What are they making a big fight about? 10 years from now, they'll both be gone. Why are they showing off about I built this monument to you? You're gone. The monument goes to dust. What's that poem by Shelley? I'm Ozymandias, King of Kings. Shelley took a walk among the ruins of Egypt, and he saw this little plaque. I'm Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my work, you mighty, and despair. All there was dust and a pile of rocks, and he's long gone. So all this crap about, how important you are because you have this edifice complex or whatever. I know somebody who's alive today who has this. Anyway, that's it. He's saying that, don't you know there's impermanence? And anyone who thinks in accord with impermanence is in accord with reality, because that's the way it is. And then finally, the ordinary person just sees being suffering, has no realization deep down of impermanence, and no realization deep down of emptiness. But still, an ordinary person like us, oh, he shouldn't suffer. Look at it, I understand that person. Let me see what I can do. That's the first level of compassion. And the next, because you're more spiritually mature, you have underneath your operating system things of everything impermanent.
So what do you say about the higher level?
The higher level is you see everything void of inherent existence. In other words, every situation that people think they're boxed in, they aren't. These things are, that's the word, dependent on causes and conditions. They're not the solid wall you think they are. You can work with them. And they're sad because these beings are suffering and crying, not realizing what the true reality is. I have to become a Buddha and show them, open the door. Like the Buddha that passed by this poor person's house starving, and with their vision they saw they had a diamond underneath the house that could make them a billionaire. They couldn't see it. They didn't have the vision. The Buddha knocks on the door and says, you know what you have underneath your house and you're starving? Go down there and get it. They're saying, we have a Buddha nature, go get it. Bring it up. Take the covering off. It's not something you have to go out and bring. It's there. So that's the idea. That kind of being is very advanced. It's called compassion apprehending the unapprehendable. That's the Gelugpa translation of it in Tsongkhapa's text, Gongpa Rab Sal, What is that? Something illuminating the thought, something, I don't know the translation. But different sects have different ways of saying the same thing. So don't get hung up on the words, hung up on the meaning. So, and I see, says, compassion and forgiveness, love, compassion, love, and forgiveness as common ground for all the different religions. That's a good starting point, irrespective of tradition or philosophy. So, and Buddhism, of course, doesn't think of an almighty creator, which Wednesday night we had a little talk on that. Who creates him, and all that, the almighty that creates him, and who created him, if everything's created. And Dalai Lama said that's why we don't believe in a deity that creates and is not affected by creation. If you create, you're not static. You did something. So then you're not permanent. If you move, you're subject to causes and conditions. That's their philosophical argument. But we don't use that with other religions because they'll hate us. And we don't care. If they teach compassion, so at this level, they can accept that. That's fine. Oh, this is stupid. It's a political announcement. Who cares? What time do we have? About 9 minutes. He's introducing in his dying book now, and this will go on for a week or two, the concept of emptiness. We went through the disillusions until realizing clear light. So we're on page 151 of the main book we're working with now, Advice on Dying, where he said everyone dies but nobody's dead. That's the Buddhist theory. So take care of the business now, because you just repeat it over and over again. So here we are. Now he talks about realizing emptiness. This is just a nice overview. Understanding the Buddhist doctrine of emptiness, as Holiness says on page 151, is crucial to living and dying with realism and without fear. So it's useful to learn this. You know what's going on, and you're not afraid. Very good. Notice the more you know, the less you're afraid. You know everything on the test the next day, you're not going to be afraid of taking it. I hope. Blood test, that's different. You can't study for it. Emptiness does not mean non-existence. Boom. You might think that emptiness means nothingness, but it does not. What are phenomena empty of? What do they lack? And this is very interesting. Without understanding what is negated, you cannot understand its absence or emptiness. So what are we talking about? Look at it this way. Buddha frequently said that all phenomena are dependently arisen. They are relative, meaning their existence depends on causes and conditions and on their own parts. When we point at something that we see, do we think this? No. This is this, that's that. She's her, she's this, that. There's no sense that everybody is constantly in motion and dependent on everything, on a lot of things. What does that do? So what? That gives you a claustrophobic setup. You can't do anything. This is this. And so, no, this is this because a few seconds ago this happened. That person's in motion. Your thoughts are in motion. Everything. So there's room to work then. So it's not that everything is just a solid wall that can't be gotten around. Nothing. You're in a terrible problem. Well, the principal's calling me down to the office. Principal called for a reason. There's a situation that's going to occur. It's not inherently existent. You can work with it, whatever it is. Don't bring extra headaches and tension because that's there. And not really. Everything is workable, especially as humans. We have intelligence enough to step back and watch our thoughts. Step back and see what's going on. Wait a minute, animals usually can't do that. They smell something, they're there. They hear something, they run. But we can say, wait, what's that? Oh, that's just the kids downstairs. So that's, so that's what he's saying. The idea that everything is inherently existent is killing us. It's making our lives miserable, and it's the main reason why against that was, well, I must have this and that, then I'll be okay. No, you must understand reality, then you'll be okay. What's happening? Hard to do, because we have habit patterns. It's very hard to do. I mean, we're talking here like, we know everything. Well, we don't. I'm reading from a book. He does. I don't think I do. But that's something we have to look into on our own. We don't need much, just be aware of it, and be willing to put in the work of bringing it up all the time. I don't want to think about that right now. I want to think about the TV programs going on. Who's going to win the football game or all this thing. All right, you could do that, have fun, but realize it's in a context. it too is empty of inherent existence. The idea of inherent existence is very hard for us to understand. But once you learn that, that's important. So when someone says, I'm sitting around meditating on emptiness, I'm looking for emptiness, you're not. You're looking for inherent existence. When you don't find it, emptiness shows up. Knocks on the door, walks in, has a cigarette, whatever. I don't know what it does. It's suddenly you discover it because it's always there. Right now we're all empty of inherent existence. It's always there, but we project our own reality. So anyway, that's the story with that. He's going to go on. This is a big topic, and we can bring in a lot of books to help. But rather than drag this has to be gone through very slowly with other comments. So we will be doing that in the future. Wednesday night, you can watch TV and watch it online or whenever you have a chance. So anyway, it was new. If anyone's watching new, all of our stuff is archived online. You don't have to come to New York or New Jersey. And everything's always free of charge. It has been for 48 years I've been here. So that's it. That's from our teacher, Chungla Rinpoche. He never wanted to charge for the Dharma. And the Buddha didn't charge for the Dharma. So, besides Wyatt Harlan, we have other names. Thanks, Darren. Tracy, Trudy Gertley, that's Wyatt, Catherine O'Hara. It's Catherine O'Hara, that sounds familiar. Actress? The actress, Catherine O'Hara? Oh. A funny Irish name. Wyatt's real name was Trudy Gertler. She wrote a book as T. Gertler. She didn't want to let people know she was a female, so she just used the letter T because she felt there was prejudice about getting a book published as female. So T. Gertler. And it was a big success back in the early 80s or something like that. So, and then she also wrote screenplays. She was a very competent, she wrote for Rolling Stone magazine. Very competent woman, very bright. She loved Rinpoche. She was afraid of him and it's sort of him as inherent existence, what she wasn't. But she was very friendly with my wife also. They had long talks. Well, I'd like to talk, even though it was late. Somewhat missed her. Over the last few years, we lost contact, but we knew what she was around. But so Sutra of the Noble Recollection of Noble Trees, and whatever person you know who has passed away, put their names in your mind. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak Sambuddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strengths cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He's not stained by the realm of desire. He's not stained by the realm of form. He's not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfection in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats, who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi, where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues, the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The Holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavad teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma, which is taught by the Bhagavad, is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Jnana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue. I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure way. By the way, there'll also be a ceremony at Rato Monastery for Wyatt's good rebirth. So all the 100 Rato monks will be praying, making offerings for her good rebirth. So let's hope we meet her in the future. And she teaches us. She becomes a Buddha all of a sudden. And we're still not. Well, who knows? No, but look, that's the purpose of coming here. So 8 verses on training the mind. Everyone has it? With the determination to accomplish of all sentient beings who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. All actions I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, respectfully take upon myself suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns and by understanding all phenomena as light illusions from the bondage of attachment. Prayer for the swift return of Rato Chungla Rinpoche, our teacher, written by His Holiness. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Lozang Tubuang Doje Chang. Please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Victor Lozang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment I will invite all beings to be my guest in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you till cyclic existence's end to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling jewel, return as the glory of Losang Tenpe. Magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karma Yama, and Sri Mata Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors, may you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. So this concludes tonight's presentation. The next Dharma talk will be 7 o'clock in New Jersey at the parsonage. And this Saturday, also at the parsonage in New Jersey at 1 o'clock, is White Tara Sadhana, White Tara meditation for health and long life, followed by delicious food that we all put around. So, and we have some nice fun. It's nice. You should enjoy it. Come on out. Anyway, thank you for your patient listening. Big love to all of you. Stay warm. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So if you don't believe in impermanence, daily we're getting examples of it. Nikki's father, Wyatt, Eddie Tung.